CA Anand Kumar is a chartered accountant with more than 18 years of both international and domestic experience in financial and strategy consulting, working capital management, mergers and acquisitions, cost reduction and profit optimization, ERP selection and implementation, business analytics, etc. He was instrumental in building a statewide presence for FinPro and JAX with engagements from several well-established corporates for JAX and with branches and franchises all over Kerala for FinPro. Welcome, sir.
CA Chirag J. Shah is a partner with Messrs. Elias George & Co., chartered accountants with over 20 years of post-qualification experience in the field. Prior to joining the CA course, he has completed the Honours Diploma in System Management from the National Institute of Information Technology in 1994. We welcome you, sir.
CA Baby Paul has over 18 years of post-qualification experience in serving leading companies in the healthcare, consumer markets, manufacturing and IT sector and experience of auditing large listed and unlisted entities based in Kerala and outside Kerala. He has significant experience in Ind AS, IFRS audits and initial public offerings. Welcome, sir.
Our discussion today will be moderated by CA Srikumar Mankuri, a fellow chartered accountant and chartered financial analyst. He holds prestigious charters from the CFA Institute USA, Global Association of Risk Professionals as a financial risk manager and energy risk professional, and Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst Association. He is also an insolvency resolution professional with 3 decades of extensive experience in auditing, valuation, and investment research, and has a decade of teaching experience as a faculty member for CFA Level 1 candidates. He brings a wealth of knowledge and insight to today's discussion. We welcome you, sir.
We welcome CA Cyril Jose, is a certified banking professional heading the Learning and Development Division of Federal Bank. He is planning and conducting the learning and training engagements for the entire 14,500 employees of the bank. Welcome, sir.
Let me welcome CA Rupesh Rajagopal, Chairman, Ernakulam branch of SICASA of ICA, for opening remarks.
Good morning, team. Today, in fact, just before we hand over the session to the moderator on the panel discussion, I thought I'll set the tone for the day. Today, we have 2 technical sessions and about 4 special sessions. The first one that we have is a panel discussion. We are doing this for the first time, because a more interactive session where audience can also interact and ask questions. We felt that would be more apt rather than one person coming and talking and a speaker and you listening to it. So that's how we had this thought and we decided to have a panel. And we have a fantastic set of panel today. Personally, I would like to thank each of them who took their time in spite of their busy schedule. So starting with Baby Paul, thank you so much. I think you have another session also in waiting for you. Thank you so much for coming. Anand is a very dear friend and a old-time friend, and we are together in many other forums. Thank you, Anand, for being with us today. The moderator for the day, C.S. Srikumar. In fact, he hails from the firm where my principal did his articleship. So, we have a relation that goes way back into Menon and Menon. So, welcome, Shri Kumar. Chirag Shah is again a very dear friend, together in Rotary. Parallelly, we were presidents of the Rotary clubs. So, welcome, Chirag. Thank you for being here. And finally, Cyril, a very short notice. In fact, I called him from one of the supermarkets in Kochi when I was doing shopping. I was exploring people who can I fit in to be in from a HR perspective. And I thought, who best other than the training and development head for Federal Bank. So Cyril, welcome. So, so the panel is ready for you. They will be discussing at length various things. You are also free to ask them questions that you have in mind. And all the very best. Thank you. Over to you, Shri Kumar.
Thank you, Rupesh. Good morning to all. Yes, very good. Actually, we the panelists should thank SICASA for organizing such a wonderful session, because so far as students of CA, you have only seen one side of the industry. Now you will see what the perception of people who will be recruiting you after you pass out. What are their perceptions? What kind of skill sets do they look at the new candidates? Of course, like the introduction speech said, CA is a very rigorous and rewarding course. Definitely yes. But the industry outside is a different world altogether. So how well are you prepared to enter the industry after you qualify is something what we'll be debating in the next 1 hour. Of course, there will be a time slot for the questions and answers. So you can listen to the panelists' opinion, what they feel, and then you can put up your questions. Then at the end of the session, we will see whether you have any takeaways from here. If you have any takeaways from here, definitely you have followed the discussion. Because being a CA student, I know it's very, very, very cumbersome, very tense moments for you when the exam approaches, when the results come out. But things have changed. If you look at the CA profession as such, when I did my articleship long way back, there were no computers, not even calculators. Everything was done manually. From that, CA has evolved a lot. The curriculum has changed. It has become up to date with the industry. Things have changed. Everything you look at it as through AI and technology. So definitely the articleship and the CA students also have changed. So let's look at the industry aspects from that perspective. So I would like to put a general question to all the panelists, because earlier CAs were perceived only as accountants or bookkeepers, but now that perception has changed. So being from a diverse industry, they may be able to tell you what they perceive a CA is, a freshly qualified chartered accountant. When he appears for an interview, what is their perception, what is their expectation from that freshly qualified chartered accountant? Is it just a bookkeeping or an accountant or much more than that? So I think I'd like to start with Mr. Baby Paul. So what is the perception of the industry right now when you say he or she is a freshly qualified or fresh chartered accountant who is just qualified? The strengths and weaknesses, what you see in them.
Morning, you all. And one is very happy to see you guys coming for attending this. You will definitely have some takeaways, because as he said, maybe long time ago, we don't had this opportunity only to kind of come and hear such events. So it is good to have. Now, before I coming to the expectations always will be a little higher, right? Don't look at every single expectations of the industry, whether you can meet there. The first of all, you should proud that you are getting into a course which is equivalent to anything else, right? I am into 18 years in this profession. I can tell you that we as CA professional can match with any IIM or IITMs, right? That is they consider the highest ever professions, right? So just be confident in your mind. You came into a course which opens up so many areas. I mean, one is auditing, accountancy, etc. is a pretty small one. That is currently only 20% of the qualifieds now practicing, right? Remaining all are doing different things. So my thought is here, just again, for the time being, concentrate on your studies. Think what is the passion in your subjects, right? You don't, of course, you need to pass every single subject, but you will be able to figure out what is your passion in one of those subjects area and put more effort there and get in there. As I said, expectation can be much different. At this point, as a student, yeah, just think through, open your mind. Just don't think that it is accountant job, right? I mean, you will have multiple other opportunities. We will anyway speak over it in the next few questions here.
Thank you, sir. I think sir mentioned about CS being at par or above IIM and IITs. But from my last almost 3 decades of experience, I have seen that it is not only IITs and IIM, but even we had a cut above any CPAs or ACCAs or any other qualifications globally. CAs do have an edge over any other qualification. Maybe it's the curriculum or the way we are trained, but definitely be confident, take it from me, that we are a cut above any other professional qualification globally in accounting or auditing. We'll just move on to Mr. Anand, his opinion or his comments on how do the industry see new chartered accountants.
Good morning, and thank you, Rubish and SICASA, for having me as part of this panel. See, you're doing one of the toughest qualifications on earth. I'm reiterating that. This is one of the toughest qualifications. So when an industry is hiring you as a chartered accountant, see, they are hiring, consider buying an Alto versus a BMW. They have lots of options out there to go and hire a USCA or an ACCA. But when they come and hire a chartered accountant, the expectations are extremely high. And I'm sure people from the industry will vouch for it. They will expect you to know everything from accounting to indirect tax to direct tax to company law to FEMA to everything. So if you're going for a mid-sized company, they will definitely expect you to perform at a much larger, higher level than a normal accountant or a senior accountant that they have. So that is clearly the expectation out there, out in the industry. And if you are going for a big four, the expectation will be that you will be able to learn much faster. You will be able to be trained on the newer things. Like if you get into forensic accounting, if you get into transfer pricing, you might get into international tax. They may not expect you to know each and every bit of detail in that, but they will expect you to learn very fast on these areas. So this is primarily what you will see when you get out and get into a job when you qualify.
Thank you, Anand. We'll move on to Chirag for his views.
Thank you. See, all of you, when you qualify as a chartered accountant, you have gone through a very tough set of curriculum that is passed through. Even today, the pass percentage for chartered accountants in the country is below 10%. Okay, so you have grilled yourself and you've become that capable. Now it is for you to carry on in that. What I would say the expectations of the industry, I can just classify it into 2 or 3 simple points which you need to take care of. One is on the technical front. You have to be technically equipped. Now the industry, you will have a different role in a different company and a different department. You might not need to, depends on the size of the company, you may not require to handle everything. You might need to specialize in something. So it is for you to choose what role you want to play in that organization when you go for an interview. So when you look at technical skills, that is one expectations that we have from you, apart from your theoretical skills. When I look at technical skills, I mean to cope up with the new technologies, new ability to work in the new gen cloud-based technologies or the ERP softwares, which is most common, SAP and Tally ERP software, which is most common now. So many custom-made softwares are coming in. The next and most important thing they also look, I would probably Cyril will add on to me, is on the soft skill front also. That is, you have already become, technically equipped with a lot of knowledge, lot of information. We probably as an employer, we look at soft skills in terms of your professional attributes, your ability to pay attention to detail, how you can manage the client, your leadership potential, your ability to learn continuously. Your personal traits also affect your employment, post-employment. How you handle pressure, your positive attitude to work, your ability to work as a team. This is all being assessed as an employer, because we want you, because when as an employer we look at a group of people running and making a large organization successful. These are the kind of stuff that will going to help you out, and this is what an employer looks at. Apart from your core competencies, you're proving your core competencies when you pass the CA exams. But these are the other abilities.
Thanks, Chirag. I think whatever qualities or whatever traits you should have, we should be analyzing them threadbare in the following discussions after we have the comments from Mr. Sir.
Good morning, everyone. As a chartered accountant, yes, we have great expectations from you, and you are a notch above. You're a special bunch of people. And being special in a group of people has its own pluses and minuses. Plus is that you are entitled for a different set of job, a privileged set of jobs. If you compare our bank, if you consider our bank, a chartered accountant never goes to a branch. So you come to the HO function. Historically, chartered accountants are deployed in credit underwriting, credit management. But for the past maybe 5 years, we have seen a migration. So now we are deploying chartered accountants in credit, in treasury, in accounts, in risk, in audit, a lot of functions. Anything where cognitive analysis is a requirement, we deploy our chartered accountants over there. So that's a plus. So you come in as a special bunch of people, and you claim a set of privileged job. Now the negative side of it is, like you were saying that chartered accountant is a very prestigious degree, as good or even better than IIMs and IITs. I completely agree. But the problem with this kind of courses is that it gives us a feeling that we have a chip on our shoulders. Like we walk chest out saying that we are different from somebody else. If you analyze organizations and our teams, you would see two types of teams. One team which is like the soup, and another team which is like the salad. The soup mingle, gel together, the salads never mix. What we look for is a soup in a team. That is a team that works better. That's where the behavioral side comes into picture. Don't be a salad. You're privileged, you're entitled, you're great, your analytic skills are very good through the roof, but don't be a salad.
Anyway, coming from a person who is having experience in HR and learning skills for the employees of a bank, should give a lot of importance to being a person who can mix with the crowd, because that is something which the CA fraternity as such lacks. Probably the social networking or mingling with other professionals. Because earlier the CA community, the CA profession used to be, when you practice, you need to know everything. You practice everything. You do auditing, you do internal audit, whatever is coming your way, you used to do it. But later on, now the profession has taken kind of what others, doctors or lawyers do. They practice in their niche areas. Though they are chartered accountants, they move into a niche practice areas. Because that is where you can specialize rather than knowing everything. It's not possible for everyone to know everything. So nowadays, you practice your niche area, you can associate with other chartered accountants, and then you can create a synergy in your practice. But going for employment, definitely it depends on which industry you're entering. You're entering into a banking industry, you'll be trained in banking. You may not know anything about manufacturing. So again, that is a choice you have to make, whether you want to go for service or you want to go for industry. If you're going for industry, definitely there will be a point where you'll be a specialist in a special kind of industry. And your strengths, you have to decide which industry you have to enter based on your strengths and weaknesses. So half the job is done when you understand your weaknesses, not your strengths. So you know that you are not good in something, then you have to pursue some career in an industry where you are strong enough. I think some of the traits what we discussed here, probably, I think I can start with Baby Paul sir saying that like the technical skills, the technical know-how required in today's world when you enter an industry. Technical know-how in the sense, it's not about the industry. In your profession, what are the techniques? Like the AI is coming in a big way in our profession. Industries are using, like the big data is a very common thing for big industries. How do you analyze the analytical skills? So technology is in the forefront of everything when you enter the industry. How quickly you can adapt to the technology of the industry which you are entering. What are the skill sets that you should have before you enter an industry to make yourself technically capable or adaptable to the industry? We'll have comments from Baby Paul.
I'll start from where he left, specialization, right? So just to give you my perspective, I only do statutory audit for 18 years. So if you ask me anything on GST, I will say that I don't know, I need to consult, right? That's how the specialization now. So you don't need to know everything to be a better professional. You can specialize in area. That's the reason I told you guys, maybe just think through what is the area which you believe it is interesting to you and get in there. And you can perform much, much better than just going through the entire gamut of CA, right? Second, I would say technology. You guys would have heard, right? Manufacturing tech, edutech, health tech, even it is audit tech, right? For example, to give you in audit in our firm, now we are using AI. AI is only people started hearing it, right? So we are using an AI tool to do audit. To give you, so as a firm, we generally recruit around, 300, 400 chartered accountants in a year. This time, even the recruitment, I mean, not to put you guys into any fear, but the recruitment cycle is going down, or the recruitment uptake is going down, just because of technology, right? Technology is a lot of things you can do with AI or automation. So the thought process in your mind, you should be agile enough to absorb technology, right? One is the core technology like your SAP, Oracle, Tally, or any other Navision which you think every company will have. But beyond that, the newer technologies. We can say that is what is in my field to do technology. So I'm saying we are using artificial intelligence in audit means not a technology guy is using it, right? Somebody is supervising, some chartered accountant is only instructing me to do that. So we should have some knowledge. So learn, everybody may be good at your Instagram reels or hacking Netflix, etc. But beyond that, right, just think through what is happening in your technological side and learn it. Don't resist to learn technology, which will be very important for all of you. Second, as I said, technical knowledge, right? If you are into practice, most of us, and you are practicing with chartered accountants, technical knowledge not stops when you clear your exam. So, for example, if you ask your principal, they are attending classes once in a month to know what is happening in the industry, in the practice, right? So, technical knowledge you should keep improving every day. So you can't just stop doing that. Okay, that's the other thing. And wherever you are specializing, just keep focusing that area and learning more. So I'm not saying that you can learn everything in the world or every single subject, but just focus on the area where you can specialize and learn from there.
Thank you. Like earlier, Chirag mentioned about soft skills. Those are something which every employee should have, or the expectation of the employer is that the employee should possess certain kind of soft skills. Being part of a training institute where they impart, or probably they bridge the gap between a graduate and a professional. Probably they provide the finishing school with the finishing touches to an employee. I would like to ask Anand about what are the soft skills that an industry expects from a freshly qualified chartered accountant. And in this perspective, in this era of globalization, where you will not be confined to the boundaries of India, probably you'll be traveling abroad, you'll be working in industries abroad, you'll be working outside India. What kind of soft skills do the employers outside also expect from a fresh batch of chartered accountants from India?
See, if we talk about soft skills, the major shortage that I've seen is one is communication skills. See, we may have the technical skills, but we lack the presentation or the communication skills. So I think that is one major area that we need to work on. the institute has come up with GMCAs and lots of other programs are there, which will help us improve our communication skill. But I think that is one of the primary things that we should work on. See, this might be kind of less applicable for students who come from cities like Cochin or from Chennai or Bangalore. But for people who come from, like me, who come from smaller villages, this is a huge issue. Because initially when I was put on a project, three of us were sitting around a conference table. We were listening to somebody from the UK speaking, and we didn't understand any single word of it. The only thing that we could say back was, okay, great, super. So after the conference call, then we went back. So we decided that we'll email them or chat them. The Europeans thought that we were kind of very brilliant and process oriented because we were trying to confirm what we listened on the conference call. And again, when we went, I was sent to the UK for a project. And again, there, we had the kind of a same situation, because even when we watch English movies, I used to put subtitles because that was kind of much more easier for me. And again, there we had the same situation. So I think communication skills is super important for a new professional, new upcoming chartered accountant.
So in the era of a globalized economy, like when the chartered accountants, they go abroad, see, what are the soft skills or that these people should, like there is a saying that if you cannot convince, you should confuse. If you are in a client negotiation, if you are not able to convince, try to confuse them. That is a kind of, it's again a soft skill, where you can, if you are not in a position to convince by time, by confusing them, fake till you make it. These are things which you can use in your profession, where, if you are in a situation, in dilemma, how you can come out of it. Being in India, definitely, yes, you have the benefit of being an Indian and being in India. But like Anand just said, if you're across the table with somebody from Europe or other part of the world, you don't want them to think bad about you and you are not prepared yourself. So that is where some skill sets come handy, where you should be able to talk to them and they should believe that, okay, you know that, but in fact you are not prepared. So you're buying time. These are all part of skill sets which you develop along the way. It's not something which you study in your CA exam. Anyway, moving on, like from the skill sets, I would like to know more about like what most people lack when they come out of their CA articleship or presentation skills. Because we are not presenting anything to anybody. We are preparing everything. So presentation skills are very important when you are in an industry. Be it within your industry, you are presenting to your boss, or you are presenting to a third party outside your industry. The impression always comes with the presentation. Because visual media has got more impression than what you say using your words. So presentation definitely is important. The presentation should be short and sweet. I would like to know about the presentation skills and decision-making skills of fresh chartered accountants, how good they are and how good they can be. What are the steps they can take to be a good decision maker or good in presentation skills?
Absolutely. I totally agree with, however, panelists, when it comes to presentation skills, we need a lot of improvement. There are so many other competing curriculums, other graduates, other certifications, where probably even though core-wise, competency-wise, a chartered accountant may be better, it's the inability of them to showcase your content, your capability, which makes the whole lot of difference in your career and your selection. I would say your selection, your career, your development. So presentation skills, Institute has taken it very seriously. Probably they came out with a MCS, General Management Communication Skills program. But probably on a personal front, I might find that the expected results are not coming out through that. It could be how seriously it is taken. It could be how it has been actually being taken practically for you. But what you need to understand today is, the appearance makes a huge difference at your selection level. How you present yourself, And later, for your career development also, how you present your case, it makes a lot of difference. And the kind of new technologies that are available, I'll just add on to using the technology front also. There was a time when probably we've gone through the stage where there was nothing, no technologies or no AI available for us. You have a lot. You have so many social media platforms to learn. So many social videos for you to see how people are doing it. The AI is available. Google is available. But you need to put in that effort and you need to rehearse, you need to practice. Whether when we come for a panel meeting also, or when Sri Kumar comes, he comes prepared. We come prepared that probably this is what is going to be discussed. Anywhere you go, there are only probably 1% of the people who are really good at being impromptu. But you need to prepare, you need to rehearse, you need to practice, you need to take out time. And that will pay dividends to you. So please pay due importance to your presentation skills, your speaking skills, your communication skills, and how you present yourself.
Chirag, one more point to add on. Like, when you talk about presentation skills or communication skills, like Anand said, from what I've seen, a small tip would be, see, most people try to express themselves when communicating, rather than thinking about the person who is listening to you, what he wants to hear. You're trying to say what you want to say. That is not what that person sitting on the other side table wants to hear. So your presentation, your communication, everything should be from the perspective of the listener. You should keep your listener engaged. That is where your success in presentation is. So if the listener is looking only at a particular aspect of your presentation, emphasize on that particular point rather than emphasizing on everything. So make your presentation acceptable or interesting to the listener or your audience. That is the only way your communication and presentation can be successful. What do you think, Chirag?
True. Because engaging, today even when we look at our perspective as a panelist, we need to engage you. So we need to speak from your perspective. Like same way when, as Anand said, that it is about the engaging the person, keeping the person interested, and he wanting to listen to you, wanting more, having takeaways from what you're speaking. So let that be the focus.
If I may add one more line to this, you might not like me for saying this, but a slightly different perspective. Like how good you speak, how good you convey, how good you look, these are all first impressions. It gives you a first impression, it keeps you an opening. But what makes the listener stick on to what you're saying, is the content that you're presenting. So yeah, you have to be good at communication skills, but what you present, the content that you present, or the quality of the content that you present is much more important than the actual first impression that you make.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, even the degree of CA, that too is only at the threshold level. It is for only the entry point that you need to be a CA. Because you enter at a middle management level or a lower management level. The entry point, the threshold is because of your degree. After that, it's all based on your performance. Like Cyril said, it's the content which makes your performance interesting beyond the first one. I would like to ask one more thing about being from the HR fraternity. Like what you think, like what are the constraints for a fresh employee to adapt to the ethics or the work culture in an environment, like in a new environment? And how easy is it to mold a fresh chartered accountant from your experience to be part of your organization?
When I sit for the exit interviews, one of the reasons why people leave a job is because there is a huge expectation mismatch. So before they came onto the job, they thought about the job in a different way, and they came into the job and they realized this is not what I wanted. So there is a huge expectation mismatch. Partly the fault is on the employee, partly the fault is on the employer. Now, when I came into the bank, my motivation was like, I have a girlfriend, I need to have a job, otherwise I will not be able to propose to her. And the reason I sat for Federal Bank interview is, hand to God, the interviewer looked very cute, I wanted to talk to her. I said to swear to God. Now, the people who come to join an organization, they are very thorough, they think through it, They want to analyze it, they want to understand what it is, and then they come into the job. So my motivation was money, but your motivation is not money. Your motivation is mostly comfort, convenience. And the moment they step into Federal Bank, the first question that they ask is, tell me about my work-life balance. Now, some of the employers understand this. The new age requires a little more comfort and not money. So they create an environment in that way. Some of the employers doesn't understand this. So they still try to motivate the new employees based on the old carrot and stick kind of mechanism, which obviously doesn't work. So one thing that makes it difficult for new joiners to transcend in a working environment is the expectation mismatch. Now, two things. One, keep your expectations at bay. Unicorns and rainbows doesn't happen in a year. It takes some time. Secondly, the employers has to understand that the motivation levels are changing and they have to adapt. Now, one other thing which I really see in the new age employees is that they get very disheartened at rejections. The moment they face a rejection, they think of it as a failure. So rejection is not equal to failure. This is especially applicable for you guys because you're academically so brilliant. You have historically run a great job in your academics. And when you come into an organization and the performance evaluation is not up to the 90, 95, 99% mark, you get disheartened. The one thing I want you to remember is like a mom who says no to a kid who is asking for a chocolate is also a rejection. The kid doesn't resign the role of a son because she said no to the chocolate. So take rejections gracefully. Rejection is not equal to failure. You'll face a lot of rejections in your career, but those are just stepping stones.
There is no gain without pain. Definitely, you have to take things in your stride. And again, adaptability to a new environment is something which we have to learn. Because when we enter a new organization, there are expectations from the employer. There are some expectations from the employee. When they don't match, like Cyril said, there can be confrontation or there can be frustration. But with the new generation, definitely it's not like the old generation. When they used to enter an employment, they used to stay there for the next 30 years. But nowadays, we see that all of the young generation wants to gain more experience in different industries. Continuing in one industry for like 3 years is the maximum. Earlier it used to be 30 years, now it's 3 years. After that you probably move on to another industry. It's not a bad trend. Early days we used to say that a rolling stone catches no moss, but nowadays it's good to be a rolling stone. You get experience in an industry, move over to another industry, you get a better position, you get positioned as from an assistant manager to probably a manager. That is how you move on in your career and you add on to your knowledge. Because no knowledge is complete unless you do it. The hands-on experience is very important in any industry. So whatever academic backgrounds you have to have your hands-on experience to continue in industry. Before we take some questions, I think we'll have just one more round. I think I'll just talk to Bibal sir about the importance of professional ethics, because CA, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, is giving a lot of impetus on the professional ethics. So how could, like working in a small to medium firm and working in a big four firm, so how good will that help in improving the professional ethics as well as the all-round knowledge for a chartered accountant when he or she comes out as a freshly qualified chartered accountant?
Yeah, so other than the auditing subject, right, we have a chapter on code of ethics and professional ethics, etc. See, as a chartered accountant, that is a minimum, right? Why there's a lot of frauds, etc. happening within the system? Somewhere within our own system, people taking it a little less serious, right? So I mean, for example, if you guys decide you won't partner with anybody who doesn't believe in ethics, right? So So I mean, once so code of, I mean, in a large firm like us, of course, we have that privilege of pushing back the management if something comes to us. But at times, some of you think that management has upper hand to do certain things, which is a fraud, right? In effect, but be bold and hold your ethics in your hand, and don't agree anything which you believe not ethical, which I think is a key thing as a chartered accountant you should continue. You should see a lot of regulatory changes coming in and around auditing and taxation, etc., only because including some of us are not adhering to the code of ethics. So ethics is something I don't want to explain better, but if you can follow ethics well in your profession, you will excel for a longer time.
Yes, thank you, sir. And I would like to ask one very important question, like which you, not even after qualifying as chartered accountants, how good you should be in updating yourself with the changes, the current trends. So that is something which our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India calls CPE, or Continuing Professional Education, which not only ICAI has, but most of the professional bodies across the globe do have the continuing professional education, which is keeping yourself abreast with changes in your field, and not only your field, the entire economy as such, because now there is no decoupling, it's everything coupled. You need to know most of the things happening across the globe to understand your industry. So I would like to ask Anand about the requirement and what are the steps that we should do to continue our professional education, the learning part. And not only that, just to talk a little about being in the industry, the time management and the client management, how good our CAs are or how good they can be. What are the steps that they have to take to be good in interacting with your clients or managing your time?
See, how many of you have tried your hands on ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot? All three. Raise your hands. See, this is the world. I know. This is the world we are looking at. See, if you're not spending 45 minutes to 1 hour, even after qualifying, you will be obsolete in no time. Because right now we are talking about AI. Baby Sir was mentioning that in his firm, a large part of audit is done using AI. We are talking about blockchain, we are talking about robotic process automation. See, all the buzzwords are a reality now. So, my sincere advice, genuine advice is that you should spend a large part of your time, even after qualifying, to do professional education. It is not only the structured professional education coming from the CA Institute. There are lots of other ways you can equip yourself. There are lots of courses that you can do online using Coursera, using Udemy, going for industry seminars, talking to people. So there are lots of opportunities to learn. See, these kind of opportunities were not available, say, 10 years, 15 years earlier. So this is extremely critical. If you want to stay up to date, if you want to be promoted, if you want to grow in your career, continuing education, continuous learning is a major critical thing. And it is not only the technical part. See, I would advise that if you have a habit of reading, excellent. If you do not have a habit of reading, cultivate that. Read as many books as you can. See, as a moderator wanted me to talk about relationship management, read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. How many of you have read it? Can I see a show of hands? This is an excellent book on influencing people and interpersonal skills and all that. So if you have the habit of reading, cultivate it. Read as much as you can.
Thank you, Anand. I'm sure definitely you'll be taking away a lot of benefits from this conference, where I believe there are a lot of motivational sessions. So to keep yourself motivated, you have to read, you have to interact, and then definitely acquiring these skills during your articleship is something which we need to know. How good is having a mentorship, working with a senior or an experienced professional, or networking in that matter with experienced professionals, or attending conferences like this, presenting papers, how good these can be in developing all these skills. I would like to, Mr. Chirag, to throw some light on the career path for CAs as well as acquiring these soft skills. And
before you know, your 2 years are over. And probably you may not get the what all probably you will not be able to get the whole of the exposure that you are looking forward to, or even if your employer has, even if your principal has that kind of the work, but he may not be able to give it to you. Probably 2 years is too short a period for you to pick up. But that is where I would just give an advice to people is not only on the soft skills front, but also on the core competency front. You need to continue learning more and more. Probably I may differ with quite a few chartered accountants on this, or even from you on this, is that once the 2-year articleship is over, the only focus that you have is sitting at home and clearing the final exam. Okay, in this interim period, 1.5 years, you're not doing anything except just sitting at home or attending classes and studying. I would just give an advice that, continue. You can change employers, get exposure in different firms, in different organizations, take some part-time internships. There are people who will have you. There are so many CA firms. I'm sure that, you come and tell, I've cleared inter, I'm writing my final. I'm sure there are so many people to take you. Take as much as exposure as you can, and you gain this knowledge, because ultimately it is this hands-on experience which is going to add on to your skill sets.
Thank you, Chira. One last question I can have for Cyril is, like you said, you should be like a soup. So to become a soup, what do you suggest, like networking, teamwork, or probably socializing? Because chartered accountancy course as such is very heavy. There are lots to study. So probably they may not be pursuing the passion they have. So do you suggest that once they qualify, you should have a well-balanced life-work environment where you should have your passion as well as your work? So what are your suggestions to have a balanced professional life?
There is a very old song that take your passion and make it happen. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. 99% of us doesn't have the privilege of doing something that we love. What we do is we get into something and eventually fall in love with that. So I get this question of, work-life balance, why work-life balance is very low in banking and the industry and all. So I happen to believe that the notion of work-life balance, or how much we enjoy our job, is slightly, skewed. People say that I don't have work-life balance if I have to spend a lot of time at work. But if you really worry about work-life balance, how many of you worry about your Netflix life balance? I mean, we watch Netflix every day. We binge watch 16 hours a weekend. We don't have a problem spending 16 hours at Netflix, but we have a problem spending 10 hours at work. So work-life balance is not about the time that you spend in that work. It's about how much you love that job. The moment you stop loving your job, you have the work-life balance problem. Now, loving your job and finding passion is not very easy. I always say, loving your job is like loving your kids. So think about your parents. How many of you think that your parents like you every day? You're wrong. Your parents doesn't like you every day. If you doubt me, think about the day you broke the TV or bumped the car onto some other cars. They didn't like you on that day. But they love you every day. So they didn't like you every day, but they love you every day. Your job is like that. You don't get to like your job every day. Someday you just want to kill your branch head or boss or whoever. But there are certain days that you really love and enjoy your job. So the trick is understanding that loving your job is not liking it every day. It's ups and downs. Someday you will love, someday you will hate, but still stay the course. So one of the best things that really worked for me in loving my job is based on this simple quote which says, you are the average of 5 of your closest associates. So you are the average of 5 of your closest associates. What does the statement mean is that if the 5 of your closest friends or associates are better than you, over a period of time, you will improve yourself to reach that level. if 5 of your closest associates are lower than you, over a period of time, you will bring yourself down to match their levels. So my suggestion, my advice is to find an inner circle, an accountability partner who's better than you. And the best advantage of this accountability partner is they'll guide you, number one. When you're really happy, you can go to them and celebrate with them. When you're really upset, you can confide in them. You can say that my boss is a very bad so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And your accountability partner will also say, you're right, he's a so-and-so. You'll feel happy about it. So if you want to be really good at your job, find an inner circle, people who are better than you, and I promise and guarantee that over a period of time, you will improve yourself to reach their level.
Because the bottom line is never underestimate yourself. You have the potential. Only thing is you have to tap it. So if you want to tap your potential, you have to love your job. You have to give your 110%. Now I think after this diverse perspectives on what the expectations of the industry, couple of questions here. We'll have time for a couple of questions from you because paucity of time. The next speaker is already here. Sir is waiting for last 1 year. So if you have any questions to the panelists from the discussions what we had or whatever points you have in your mind, please come forward. We'll have time for 2 or 3 questions. We'll take your questions and then we'll wrap up the session. You can just raise your hand and they'll come with the mic.
Chartered accountant becoming, going for an employment or going to an industry, etc. So how about he's going to be an entrepreneur? Is there anything more to think about that?
Is how about a chartered accountant being an entrepreneur, right? Absolutely. The sky is open. The sky is the limit. How many successful entrepreneurs are already chartered accountants? So many successful entrepreneurs. So there is absolutely no. That's what he spoke about. Your passion, what you love. So many startups, unicorns are slowly coming up. That's all right. But there are already existing leaders who are already chartered accountants in so many spheres. Entrepreneur. In fact, I understand we have a session coming up. Sir is an entrepreneur, very successful entrepreneur. We have another session coming up this day, later, where you have an entrepreneur speaking to you. So I believe that there is nothing that you go into industry or you come into practice. You do what you love. Ultimately, that is the end of the day that's going to make you happy.
See, if I heard the question correctly, it's about how the CA degree is going to help you in your entrepreneurship, right? See, I think being a chartered accountant turned entrepreneur, I think the CA degree is one of the major blessings that I had in my entrepreneurship journey. We might have seen statistics that 60 to 70% of businesses fail within the first, I don't know, may say 4 to 5 years due to financial management reasons. So we have an extremely tight grip on finance, and that is really helping us, and that will really help us when you're talking to an investor to raise funds. That is point number one. And time management, we are learning it during our CA days, during our articleship days, when the clients are dumping books to us at the last minute. So time management, people management, interpersonal skills, negotiation skills. So there is whole lots of things that we are learning during our CA days, during our articleship days that are clearly helping personally me in my entrepreneurship journey.
Just to add to that, maybe a slightly different point. You know, the employment landscape has been changing. So there was a time when we are very happy to be a permanent employee of a place, but that landscape is changing. Now the future is gig workforces and moonlighting and you know, people who work for a hire. So in about 5 years' time, you will see yourself as a contractor, as a gig worker. You'll not be running one job, you'll be running 5 jobs parallelly. And you'll not be an employee to anybody. You will be on your own. You will have a certain skill sets. In the morning, you might be working as a banker. In the afternoon, you'll be working in a manufacturing industry. And in the evening, you'll be working as a teacher. So that's how the employment landscape is going to be changing. And yeah, entrepreneurship, being a gig employee is what the future is going to be like. Just another perspective for that.
You can take home what we have discussed so far, like enjoy your profession or enjoy your career, love your job, and if something is hurting you, let it go. Don't let that frustration enter yourself, because even today has to pass. So nothing is going to happen if you keep worrying about what is going to happen to me in my employment. Nothing is going to happen to you. Today will pass, tomorrow also will pass. So that is how life should be. Don't take stress into you. Let the stress pass by you. It's okay. It's not going to hurt you. And last tip would be smile. Keep smiling. Because from what I've seen in most of the CA conferences, it's very difficult for chartered accountants to smile. Maybe it's the stress from the profession. You see a lot of frowning faces. But if you smile, you will make your day and you will make other person's day also good. So you will be happy, others also will be happy, we'll have a peaceful planet. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the panelists for engaging in this discussion. Thank you, SICASA, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you,
have
sir.
a good day of learning.
What more to close? I think only one line lingers for me, Be a soup and not a salad. Fantastic, Cyril. Thank you so much for that. I think you mix up, take the colors, you pass on your colors to the others. Be around, and I think it was a fantastic session. Each one of you contributed so well. Really happy to have. We have a Big Four, a non-Big Four, CA entrepreneur, CA who's been working abroad for so many years, and a HR perspective. What else can SICASA give you better? A bigger round of applause for the panelists, please.
And our moderator with a memento as a token of our appreciation. CA Cyril Jose is being felicitated with a token of our appreciation. CA Anand Kumar is being felicitated with a memento as a token of our appreciation. CA Chirag J. Shah is being felicitated with a memento as a token of our appreciation. CA Baby Paul is being felicitated with a memento as a token of our appreciation. CA Srikumar Mankuri, the session moderator, is being felicitated with a memento as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of the panel discussion.